So it all kicked off on Monday Night Raw 9th of January episode. Lots to talk about, lots to divulge, some good things and some bad things. But if I had to sum up Raw, it was meh. It was okay. You know, it's just dire at the moment. Raw is. It really is, and it is disappointing. It's frustrating. It's everything you can think of. It really is annoying because. The problem, I mean, I keep trying to think of solutions, and the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be to get Raw out of what is at the moment an absolutely disastrous situation that they're in. I mean, it is recoverable, do not get me wrong, but, you know, they're just not using talent properly. They're not elevating talent properly. They're not, you know, I mean, Braun Strowman is about the only person they've booked successfully over the past couple months. And there's just not a buzz around the show. You know, I'm looking forward to SmackDown Live, and that's the thing. I get to the end of Raw, I'm like, thank God that's over. Can't wait for Monday Night Raw. Can't wait for SmackDown. Sorry, you know, that shouldn't be how it is. That shouldn't be how it is, but it is at the moment. We're going to divulge everything that happens or happened in what am I talking about in Raw tonight, and we're going to go through it all. So let's kick off then with the opening segment. Which was it started backstage with Stephanie, I don't know why I said that, and Mick Foley discussing his performance review. There was a real element of that, you know. Has Foley done it? I mean, it's not Foley's fault, for crying out loud, but maybe a new general manager is what Raw needs. I mean, the thing is it would freshen things up. Well, it wouldn't change much, let's be honest. And then we had the United States Championship 2-on-1 match that never ever got started. Strowman, Owens, Jericho beating up Roman Reigns. Rollins came out with the equalizer with the chair and hit Strowman a couple of times. Stephanie came out and said, "This is not going on my watch, you son of a bitch." And she set up Strowman versus Rollins and said this United States Championship match would happen at the end of the show. It was a unique way to start Raw. It was better than the shitty segments we've been getting each week where Foley comes out and basically just books the whole show. So it was an improvement on that regard. But there's not really a lot of buzz between Reigns and Owens, in my opinion. That story hasn't really got a buzz to it. And I don't really know what Seth Rollins is doing, to be honest with you. He's got nothing to do from now to the Rumble. So yeah, I mean, it was an improvement from last week, so let's not bitch about it too much. Next up, we had Rollins versus Strowman, your typical powerhouse beast versus architect, which is exactly what Seth Rollins is. Big guy versus little guy. Well, not that Seth Rollins is little, but you know what I mean. Compared to Braun Strowman, is a mountain of a man, as Michael Cole will keep telling you. It was that big versus small, David versus Goliath, and they protected both by having it end in a double count out. Is that the right move? Probably. It's always frustrating when there's a double count out, or at least I find it frustrating when there's a double count out, because just as a fan you want to see a match conclusively end, but I don't mind it because it protects both guys. Rollins can't really do with a loss at the moment heading into the Royal Rumble, being so he's not really got a lot to do anyway. Strowman, you know, he's on such a roll. A random loss to Seth Rollins on Raw would be a bit pathetic, really, being so he's been built up for so long. You know, that loss for Braun Strowman, when he gets pinned inside the ring, it needs to be a big deal. It needs to happen at a pay-per-view. If it happens on Raw, it needs to have hype around it, and it simply didn't tonight. So an okay way to use Strowman, an okay way to use Seth Rollins. Strowman showing his power, showing that he is unstoppable at the moment. There's been nobody who's been able to stop this guy. It took Reigns and Goldberg to take Strowman down. Reigns and Goldberg. Because people bitching about last week's final segment. I don't think they grasped the concept that both Reigns and Goldberg had to take out Strowman. Does that not just show you what a monster of a man? I've got to stop saying that. Then we had the cruiserweights. It was, look, Jack Gallagher. I find him interesting. I think he's an interesting guy. He's very unique, very charismatic. He's a unique character. Very good in the ring. But I don't care about the cruiserweights. I just simply don't. I don't like the fact they haven't got knee pads on, but that's just me. I just don't care about it. And I'm trying to care about it. I'm trying to bring myself to care about it, and I just can't. I simply can't. I don't have time to watch 205 live, to be fair. That might be half the reason. But I'm starting to think maybe the cruiserweights is just never going to work on Raw. And it's a good thing in some respects because it means I can fast forward the cruiserweights and, you know, just skim watch, and it will take away half an hour on the show. But they're not even getting half an hour. That's the thing. They're not even getting half an hour. If you time it, they get about 20 minutes. The promo after the match, he seemed very nervous, but it was a decent promo, and it set something up for 205 Live, which I won't watch because I haven't got time. And look, I'm sure 205 is a good show, but I'm just not hyped enough, and Raw doesn't get me hyped enough to watch it. It's as simple as that. We then had Shawn Michaels return to promote his film, along with, and Rusev came out. Rusev's got to turn face. He's a funny guy, and I love some of the stuff he said. I mean, this segment was terrible. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I love HBK, and it was great to see him back in the ring. But this was a dud. This was a poor segment. And the match that followed, Big Cass and Jinder Mahal, it was poor. Nice to see Shawn Michaels hit the sweet chin music, and the fact that Shawn Michaels is there, I'm not going to bitch about it too much because it was great to see him. But yeah, it never really got going. It never really clicked, and mainly because the rivalry between SAWFT and Rusev and Jinder Mahal just has not got going. Why is Jinder Mahal all of a sudden teaming up with Rusev? That's not been explained to us. Why is Big Cass so angry about Rusev for going after Enzo because Enzo stole Rusev, or tried to steal Rusev's wife? I mean, there's just so many plot problems with this story, so it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you can understand why Rusev is pissed off with Enzo, and you can't understand why Cass doesn't see it as so, and as it is. I mean, it's just not working. And hopefully it ended tonight, but of course it didn't, because we saw Big Cass versus Jinder Mahal, not Big Cass versus Rusev. Rusev's got to turn on Jinder. Rusev's got to turn face at some point because this guy's funny, and trust me, this guy as a face will be amazing. This guy's a heel could be amazing, but WWE, I just don't think WWE will ever resolve the problem that is Rusev. A problem that could be so good, its resolution could be so good, but they just won't do it. So that was that segment. We then had another cruiserweight segment, Neville versus a masked man. I honestly can't remember what his name was, and I apologise. You know, I did actually watch this match. It wasn't bad. It was too short. It was too short. Neville debuted his new signature, his new finishing manoeuvre, or his new submission hold, which was nice to see. And then Rich Swann came out and did a post-match beating. I'm looking forward to their match, to be fair. But, yeah, the cruiserweights, I don't want to really bitch about the cruiserweights too much because I'm just bored. I've said everything I need to say about the cruiserweights, and nothing seems to be done. We then saw Sheamus versus Luke Gallows. I'd have liked to have seen Luke Gallows win this match. It was the cheap ending, oh fuck, I've lost my words. I don't feel great today, guys. It was the cheap kind of distraction finish. There we go, hallelujah. That cost Luke Gallows, which is annoying because I would have liked to have seen Luke Gallows win, so they can both have a win and they can really start to build up. The club is slowly but surely starting to look like credible threats. They really need to beat down Sheamus and Cesaro before the pay-per-view. And then, you know, see what they can do at the pay-per-view, because WWE are trying, to be fair to them, to recover them. And the fact that they're a little bit more focused, you know, even on commentary, they're more focused, and, you know, the chucking of the water bottle and then the attack from Anderson was quality, and it was good to watch, and it was, yeah, I mean, admittedly, Cesaro came off better, but which, for me, I wouldn't have done. But at the same time, they're showing that intensity. They've got away from that jokey, talking about balls.com that they did with the New Day, which has got to be a positive. So slow, they're starting to... And Sheamus and Cesaro, I said I loved them as a team right from the start. I said they will work, just give them time, and they did. And I'm quite proud of them. I feel like I'm I'm with it with Mick Foley here. You know, I knew from the start, Mick, I'm with you. So yeah, decent. I mean, it's an okay match. I quite enjoyed this match. And I know people will be like, well, it's just an average match. But I actually enjoyed it. Seeing Sheamus, he's starting to bring some new moves out. Seeing two big, hard hitters go at each other. I thought it was very, very good. To say at least I thought it was, yes, it was an average match, but I enjoyed it. We then saw The Undertaker come back to Monday Night Raw. And he made a huge announcement. And that was that he'd be entering the Royal Rumble. Undertaker hit every single note that he needed to, and more. He hyped the Rumble more than anybody has hyped the Rumble since Goldberg and Lesnar announced that they were in it. He made me excited for the Rumble. He made everybody in the arena excited for the Rumble. He made everybody in the world excited for the Royal Rumble. And he told Stephanie McMahon where to stick it. This was brilliant. The Undertaker nailed it on so many levels. I've been critical in the past of Undertaker on the mic. Not that it matters because he's just got that aura about him. Seeing Undertaker in the Royal Rumble will be extraordinary. I mean, the time it takes him to enter the ring, I am starting to think that by the time Undertaker's got in the ring, there'll have probably been 2 or 3 more entries. So they might have to bring him out number 1. Just so, otherwise, if they bring him out number 2, by the time he gets in, the Rumble match might actually be over. So, yeah, I mean, this is great. You know, I kind of wish they wouldn't have announced it because the surprise and the shock of The Undertaker and that dong at the Rumble would have been sick. But I get why they announced it because now everybody's going to want to watch The Undertaker. Lesnar, Goldberg, Strowman. I mean, this is insane. What Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, this Rumble match should be the best Rumble ever. Even if you look at fucking people themselves, if you look at the superstars that are there, they had to sell out 60,000 seats, and I think they might do with Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, and Goldberg in that match. We could see Lesnar face to face with Undertaker one last time, and we could even see, who would have thought this, Undertaker and Goldberg face to face at the Royal Rumble. It's all possibilities that could happen. And I can't wait. And even Strowman, when Undertaker announced it, they went backstage and Shu Strowman, when Undertaker was announcing he's in the Rumble, and even he wanted a piece of the Undertaker. I tell you what, it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great Rumble match, and it should be the best Rumble match we've had, certainly for the last few years. And if I'm honest, as soon as Undertaker announced this, he now, I think, becomes the favourite to win the Rumble. I don't think you can say now Undertaker's not the favourite to win the Rumble. I think he has to be the favourite to win the Royal Rumble. We'll have to wait and see whether the favourite goes on and wins the Rumble like they have in the previous years. Bayley, Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Charlotte. They had a little backstage segment. I called this. I said this match would be tonight. And it was. Fatal 4-way at Royal Rumble. I'd love to see that, but it's never going to happen. So let's I just get over it's like the other, I always just want fatal 4-ways, don't I? So I've got to get over it. Neither of my fatal 4-ways are going to happen, which is a shame. The match was interesting. It was an interesting concept, cleverly done with Sasha and Bayley hurt earlier by Nia Jax. It meant that they just couldn't end up doing it. Sasha couldn't really do anything in the match. She was so hurt. And Bayley too, and in the end the champion Charlotte and Nia Jax got the win. And obviously backstage we saw that Nia Jax is not going to be pushed around by Charlotte, and that maybe she in the future could be coming for that thing. Now I know what a lot of people will say, why is Bayley and Sasha losing? But it makes sense. It makes sense why they lost, in my opinion, because they got beat up, they weren't 100%, they wanted the match, Stephanie forced it. It makes sense to me. And I don't think it hurts them at all. I actually think it benefits their character. It makes you feel sorry for them. It makes you support them more because of what's happened here. That's just my opinion. We then had... I don't really get... this was... New Day have been incredible. They're stale now, but they have been incredible. But they have had, even in their heydays, some of the worst segments in WWE history. This was terrible. I don't even care enough to speak about it. Titus was repeated what he did in NXT with the fucking barrel. I mean, It was ridiculous. Kofi Kingston then beating him was about the only good thing that happened in this match. What are the WWE doing with New Day now? WWE are proving once again that they find it impossible to book talent successfully unless they're in the title picture. For me, New Day have to turn heel, not because they're booking it wrong, but just simply because they're stale as fuck. They should have turned heel a couple of months ago. Titus needs to quit. He got my worst Superstar of the Year award in the awards ceremony for 2016. And if he keeps going on the way he's going this year, he'll win it again. It was just terrible. We then saw the United States Championship match. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. How did they work it? Whoever got the pinfall would become the United States Champion. Who got the pinfall? Y2J, Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho. I'm glad he's finally won the United States Championship. The match was okay. The ending was pretty sick. The result probably means that Roman Reigns is going to fucking win the title at Royal Rumble. But we can hope that that's not happening. So yeah, we can hope that's not happening. But spoiler alert, it is. I've been saying spoiler alert, Reigns is going to win at the Rumble ever since the match was announced, really. And yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, he still is. And this just makes it even more of a foregone conclusion. Jericho's finally got the United States Championship. Finally, the guy who's neglected the title for however many months he's held it has finally given up and said, you know what? I'm sick of trashing the title. You take it and see what you can do with it, Chris. So, who will Chris face now for the United States Championship? The mid-card's back on Raw. We've finally got a mid-card, but then again, you look and you think to yourself, who's actually in the mid-card? Oh god, there's nobody. Zayn's injured. Rusev's doing some fucked up thing with Big Cass. Braun Strowman, he's a heel. Jericho's a heel. That one ain't gonna work. I mean, it's fucked. And that's Jinder Mahal. You know, Neville's on the cruiserweights. Sheamus and Cesaro are attacked. I mean, there's nobody. There literally is nobody anymore. So yeah, that's interesting. And again, this was another thing that's been done 2 months fucking late. But I'm glad it happened. I'm glad Jericho's the US champ. Although I think it now means that that Reigns is going to win the Universal title. I just didn't want him to hold the fucking title. And that's why I still think Finn Balor might win the Rumble and face Reigns at WrestleMania. Although he doesn't really need to, because he's already guaranteed a title shot, so maybe he doesn't. I don't know, lots of questions. I don't know how WWE are going to play it, if I'm honest, and that's what I think is exciting. The Royal Rumble this year is so tough to call. You know, Undertaker, for me, he's probably the favourite. Finn Balor, he's got to be up there. Jericho, possibly. Lesnar, Goldberg, you can't count them bloody out. Corbin's been on a run. Strowman, I mean, surely WWE wouldn't. You know, Seth Rollins, you can't count him out. There is just so many names that you couldn't count them out. And that's what makes this Rumble intriguing. But Raw certainly wasn't intriguing. And guess what? I don't really care about next week's Raw. If we have a rematch between Reigns and Jericho loses a title to Reigns, I will never, ever, ever watch Raw again if that happens next week. I'm going to put it out there right now. I will quit with watching Raw. But I'm going to end it here then, and I will bring out a SmackDown preview a little bit later on for the show. We've got Corbin versus John Cena, and we've also got the Tag Team Championship match. So should be good. And you want to bet your life it will be a better show than what we just saw on Monday Night Raw. What was I going to say? I had something to say and then I just forgot it, which is fucking great. Yeah, rating for Raw. What have I given it? Last week I gave a 4. I'll give Raw this week a 5 because Jericho won the title. I'll give it a 5. I think that's fair. It's probably not fair, but I'll give it a 5. Did I just say 5? I meant to say 5. Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. And any guesses on whether SmackDown Live will beat it? My guess is it will, and it will beat it not just comfortably, but with breathing distance, to the point where breathing distance, I don't know what I'm saying. What I do need to say is that that's it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. I did recently hit 100,000 views on this channel. Hopefully the next 100,000 we can get to in a record time. And that, my friends, that milestone is all thanks to you for watching the video. So I really do appreciate it. If you could drop this video a like, that would be awesome. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share it around with your friends. And until next time. I was going to say until next time. I'll see you next time. Until next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. That was a terrible way to end.